What's up, guys? CryptoSavy here with the channel you subscribe to get daily updates every single day on Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and right now we're watching the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Also, stick around to the end of the video. We'll take a look at that. Are we in an economic collapse? I do believe so. I do believe we have further to go. We'll take a look at my targets. Definitely stick around. Don't forget we have a free Discord group in the description below the video. Definitely check it out if you want somewhere to hang out and talk about crypto. Let's get on with it. All right, guys, as always, this is not financial advice, trading advice, investment advice, any of that. There's a disclaimer scrolling on the bottom. Make sure you read it. We are going to get into the news headlines just to get a feel for the sentiment. Just one major cryptocurrency is outperforming Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin price holds 6.8, defying predictions of testing new lows. Manufacturers mark down Bitcoin miners as price drop. Bitcoin briefly topped 7K as traders say worst of 2020 sell-off is over. Bitcoin climbs more than 15. So very bullish news. As you guys know, I've been bearish. I still remain bearish, and we'll talk about that. I'm not saying we can't go up. I will give targets for both ways, but let's take a look at the fear and greed index. Let's refresh. We are at 14. Yesterday we were at 14, so we're still the same in extreme fear. And if you remember yesterday, I had talked about the 21 EMA being resistance at the 72.71, and that's exactly where we got rejected, which is also the top of this resistance trend line. Remember, we have the 55 EMA down here at around 4,800, which I believe is a possibility. That could be where we're going, even a little bit lower. I will take a look at that. And it's funny, you know, we got a little run up to yesterday, and then everybody's like, you were wrong, you were wrong. People are so just arrogant and foolish about that stuff, guys. If you pay attention to the whole video, you'll understand. If you just pick out bits and pieces you want, you're an idiot, period. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, by the way, and leave your comments down below. I also am going to leave a DOW tutorial up top. We will be having a DOW trading competition, and I will be giving more info on that later. You can join the Discord in the bottom to get more info on it. Within the next, by this weekend, we should be getting sign up ready, and then it'll be sign up for about a week. To enter, you will need 0.05 Bitcoin in your account, but there is prizes and there is information on that on the Discord also. But let's look at the weekly. Another thing we talked about yesterday was looking at the weekly. The 21 EMA had crossed the 55 at close last week. We're still below it. Looking pretty bearish, guys. We got rejected at the 8 EMA. I'm still bearish here. We look at the 200 EMA, and that's going to be around the 53.50, right in that area. As you can see, we got support back here. Not to say we can't wick down, but if we look at this yellow trend line, whoops, that we've wicked through last time, didn't last long. If we were to come straight down this week, that'd be around the 43.30 range. If we wick down to this trend line here, would be around the 4,200 range. And if you guys have been watching the channel, you know those are close to where my targets are. Also, I want to, my worst case scenario, so you guys know, is 25.74. I have a few things that could possibly be pointing at that. If we were to get a rise up here, we do have major resistance at the 7,700. But again, we're going to take a look at all the possibilities. Let's look at the RSI on the weekly. As you guys know, we've been watching this back here in 14. We capitulated below it, broke back above it, got support on it. Remember, this is the weekly. This is back in 14, 15. 2018, we capitulated below it, broke back above it in 19, tested it for support, got support, came back down, broke through it. We are now above our resistance right here. If we can close this weekly up here, that's a pretty good sign, but it still doesn't mean that we are out of the woods yet. Let's look at the daily. Just something I'll show you real quick in the RSI, something we had talked about on the channel. I think I started talking about this last week, and I left this drawing in here. We were right around in this area when I put that up. We could have been looking at inverse head and shoulders, which does look like that is possibly what we're looking at. Even though I'm bearish here, like I said, we could have some more upside. I don't believe it'll be much, but if you look here, we had this falling wedge here. And again, guys, this is on the daily. If we did a measured move of this falling wedge from where it broke out, this does work a lot of times on the RSI. Also, just like the price action, the RSI would get back up to around the 71.5 range. We will keep an eye on that. That would be pretty high in the price. That would probably be up around the $8,000 range if that was to happen. But let's take a look at it more in the price. All right, so taking a look at where we're at with the EMAs here. The EMAs are looking bullish. The 21 EMA as of right now is around the 6,600 range. I would look for support there, maybe a bounce if we do get back down that range. As you can see, the 8 has crossed the 13 and is looking to cross the 21 in the daily. So if we close up here today, that'll be a good sign. It'll be the 13 crossing the 21. But we do have the 55 EMA at around the 7350. That would be resistance. I still am looking at this as a rising wedge. I know a lot of people are looking at this as I'll draw it in there for you. They are looking at this as an ascending triangle. I do not believe that's what we're looking at. I still believe this was a wedge. A lot of times when you break out of these wedges, you come back up and test the bottom of the wedge as support. That's what I'm saying. We could go possibly as high as a 7,700. If we break the 7,700, then I get a little bullish, but unless we break that, I'm not bullish. I do believe we are coming down to these measured moves, the first one being from when we broke down from here around the 4250 range. I'm still sticking with that target, but I do think there will be major support here at the 54. We could bounce off the 54 if we come down here and that be it. So keep that in mind. That has been major resistance back here, major support and resistance in the past, as you can see. But if you look at the 4250 where that lines up, that's what this old resistance back here. So I do believe I'm still looking for these lows. Again, guys, I could be wrong. Don't take my word for it. Do your own due diligence. And looking at the worst case scenario, if you remember on the weekly, I showed you, we'll go back, the worst case scenario at the 2574 on that trend line. And if we take a measured move, looking at this as a flagpole, this is a bear flag. That gets us right around the same area, the 2570 range, which again, still that same trend line. So that is my worst case scenario, guys. Still, let me move this over a little. Let's look at, now yesterday I was talking about a possible triple top. As you can see the circles here, we were in this rising channel and I actually had a target of around 69.70. I thought we were going to get rejection and come down. Guys, I believe all this was a bull trap. We wicked up here to, well, let's look, go back here. As you remember yesterday, if you did watch, I said the 55 EMA was around the 7,300, which that's right around where we went. But we did get rejected up here at the 72.90 range. Even though it made a higher high here, in a lot of exchanges it did not. Like I said, I still believe this to be a triple top, as most people are looking at this as a symmetrical triangle, which I get it, but I don't believe that's what we're looking at, guys. If it is, you know, our measured move for that would be something in the range of, let's see if it lines up with anything. It'd be somewhere in the area of 9,500, which also lines up with this resistance back here. Old support becomes new resistance. But again, guys, I don't think it's happening. We could come up to that 77 range. Remember, there is, you know, this old support become new resistance. That's the highest I see us going. But as of right now, as you can see, this blue channel, let me clear this up a little bit. As you can see, this blue channel here that we've been watching, I drew it off of these wicks here. We did have this wick through yesterday. Again, I think that was a bull trap. We have got rejected at the top again. if we are to come over here and break down from this, remember 64 is our 0.382 retracement, and it has been support and resistance. So it's been pretty supportive and resistance, I guess. But that's going to be a major point. If we break down below that, let's take a measured move of breaking out of this channel. Let's say we broke out in this area. Again, guys, this target changes depending on where it breaks out. But that would get us back down to the 59.50 range to the 58.80 range, depending on where it broke down, which would also line up with this low over here. And if that was to break, obviously, 5,400 would be my next point to look at. But I'm bearish here, guys. As you can see in the 4-hour, we are below the 200 EMA now. We did get rejected at the top of this. I do think we'll come down and at least test the bottom of this. And if it breaks, like I said, I'm looking for the $6,000 range, somewhere in that area, 5,800 to 6,000, all depending on where it breaks. But again, guys, I'm bearish here. Let's look at, well, you can see it too in the 1 hour. As you can see, this was just a fake out, I believe, to got everybody drawn in. So now there's a bunch of longs trapped up here, and I believe once we get down far enough, these longs will close out, and that will push us down further. My wife's webpage, anchorimage.com, there's a link to it below in the description. Definitely check it out. It's a good way to support the channel, along with all the other links down there. If you guys are trading, I have some affiliate links down there with some exchanges that give you bonuses for signing up. One of them has percentage off your fees for the month, so check them out. And yeah, let's look at LITECOIN. So LITECOIN, I marked this up here yesterday as the top of this, or the bottom of this, a retest of this wedge here, around 44.82. And obviously it didn't make it there. We got to about 42.89. Now I'm going to put this back up where it was at the 47.66, which is the 0.382 retracement of this whole move here. So that's the highest I see it going. If you guys watched yesterday, I said this 41.32 would be, if we could break that, then that's when I was looking for that $44 range. We did break it. Like I said, I think that was a bear trap, just like Bitcoin. Also Ethereum, we're going to take a look at in a second. But as you can see, we are getting rejected at this 41.37. And again, just like in Bitcoin, people are looking at this as a ascending triangle. And I'll draw that in again. But I do not believe that's what we're looking at, guys. I really don't. I could be 100% wrong. I say it all the time. Make sure to do your own due diligence. I am just showing you my idea. But yeah, they're saying this is a ascending triangle. I don't believe that's the case. Again, I could be wrong. Let's look at the RSI. Did we look at the RSI in Bitcoin? 4-hour RSI right here. So we've broken out of this falling broadening channel. We could come up to retest the top of this, guys. It is definitely a possibility, and that'd be around that $7,200 range. Definitely a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not, but I don't believe that's where we're going. We did pop back above this 200 EMA though. Well, let's see. I think traditional market opening is going to have a lot to do with it. So let's look at this now. We had this rising channel that we broke out of, came back up, tested it as support. It looks like we did test it for resistance. We could get another run up here. Yeah, we could get another run up, maybe test that 44 range. I doubt it, but it is Bitcoin. It is the crypto market. So anyways, I'm still bearish here, guys. I am definitely still bearish. Let's look at the measured moves for LITECOIN. Looking at this as a rising wedge, which we've broken down from. And unless we break the bottom of this, I'm going to stick with calling these wedges on all of them. So anyways, the measured move off that's 22.86. And if we look at this as a flag pull, this being a bear flag, we are looking around the $14 to $15 range. Yeah, guys, unless we break above this 200 EMA on the 4-hour, which is good. Let's just say 45 and open and close at least 4 hour above that. Unless that happens, I see us coming down to these lower lows. Let's look at Ethereum. Same thing. Ethereum actually broke back in this rising broadening wedge. But I think it's pretty much topped out here. As you can see, I definitely think it's topped out here. But anyways, let's look at the measured moves here. Same thing. I did put that 149.33 yesterday, and that was just looking up at the bottom of this. We did get a little above that. We hit the 145. Or let me see. Yeah, we hit around 150. So now I'm going to move this up to right around where that 200 EMA is, and that's around 155. We are above our 137, which is our 0.236 fib. If we get below this, then we're looking at my lower targets, which are my measured moves for this. I lost one. Let me put this one back in here. Oh, no, I didn't. There it is. So measuring the wedge to where we broke down around the 72.50. Measuring the flagpole. Looking at this as a bear flag. Gets us around 27.34. I've talked about it before. Coming down here would make sense because anyone that long tier is going to have their stops in this area. This would be a stop hunt and then continue up from there, in my opinion. That's what I believe would be happening. But either way, guys, all the way across the board, I'm still bearish. Like I said, we could get up to retest the top of these wedges, although I think Ethereum already has and it's done. But we could come up to retest the top of all these wedges. Bitcoin, let's take a look at each one first before we look at the DOW. Bitcoin almost can be considered it tested, but we didn't quite hit it, or the 55 EMA. So let's say 77. If this is today's, if we get up to the 77, that would be a retest. If we blow through that, then maybe we're going much higher. And Litecoin would be around 46. If we blow above that, then obviously we'd be going higher. And Ethereum, like I said, I think it already tested, but I guess it could go up to 145 again. Let's look at the pre-markets. And again, the markets are probably going to be open by the time this gets out to you. Dow is down in the pre-markets $100, which is a 0.5 percentage point. And as you can see, this is the hourly. I'll zoom out and show you the long-term picture. But the hourly looks like it is possible we come up for a retest up here. And that could be, coming back up all the way up to that 22.4. I don't think that's going to be what's happening, but I could be wrong. As you can see, all the EMAs, 21, 13, and the 8 have crossed the 55 here, and we are getting rejected at the 55 EMA. Zoom out a little bit to the 4 hour, and we'll talk a little bit about my targets. But as you can see, we got support at the 0.618 here and got a nice jump up again. Let's look at the RSI. So I have this falling broadening wedge. Looks like we're going to come up and test this one more time. If that breaks, like I said, the highest I see this going, guys, is to retest this. Let me go into the daily. We'll look at the longer term targets and why. And where I think the highest we could go retest is around the 23.4. If we break that, then I have to refigure everything. But 23.4 would be this rising channel we had here. We had that as our support, and when it broke, we came all the way down to the 18.4. We put some fibs on there, and it hit the 0.382 fib perfectly around the 22.5. And like I said, as of right now, we are getting support on the 0.618. But if we zoom in and look, we are getting rejected right now on the 8 EMA. Let's see what happens at opening. And I know a lot of people think Bitcoin is not correlated and it's starting to break away. I don't see that happening yet, guys. I'm not saying it's not gonna. I definitely believe it will, but it's not happening right now. It's just not happening yet. So anyways, Let's look at the targets, the long-term targets, and then we'll let you guys go. So looking at the rising broadening wedge, I have a target here of 16.8. I still believe we hit at least 16.8, guys, at least. If that does not hold, my next target, I will show you now, is looking at this whole thing as a megaphone. And you can look it up, Google it, see what that is as a chart pattern. We have broken it. Even though we're back above it, we have broken it, and I do believe we'll most likely come back down and break it again. The 16.8, if that does not hold, guys, we could be looking all the way down to the 9,200 points, which also is old resistance back here. Or old resistance become new support. I know there's a lot of support and resistance here. I think this all means nothing. If this 16.898 doesn't hold, then 9,200 is what I'm looking at. 9,200 points, 91 to 9,200 points. Ugly. Anyone that's believing these little rallies you're seeing here in the Dow Jones Industrial and traditional markets, guys, look at what's going on. There's nothing that's going to be raising in value right now. So don't get sucked into the suckers rally and let them take any more of your money than they already have. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below. What do you think's going on with the traditional markets, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum? Also, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on everything with the stuff going on in the world. So thanks again for watching, and I'm out.